says, I have found David my servant, and with my holy oil have I anointed him. The question is, was God looking for David? Was God looking for David? Yes. And God is looking for you too. There is a stark parallel between what God was looking for in David and what God is looking for in you. Let me draw some of them just so you get it. David was a son that was left behind in the field. Hello, somebody. When every of his brother, like I told you, had been brought before the prophet, everyone that had been brought before the prophet, everyone that mattered was brought before the prophet, there was something God was looking for. God did not find it in all of those ones. He said, is there any more child of yours that is not here? Parallel number one. I don't care what this world has dragged you away into. It does not matter what you've been dragged into. It doesn't matter whether you are so held up. That's why we spent some time early today just talking about our week. Some worked 46 hours a week. I know when we were praying for the job, now the job is here, and then we're like, that's life. That's life. And when life has dragged you, and in order, listen very carefully, come on, listen very carefully to me. In order for you to exist, to be alive, in order for you to pay your bills, in order for you to be a part of a society, you have had to do so many things. You have had to work. You have had to work ungodly hours sometimes. You have had to do 2 jobs sometimes. Listen very carefully. In all of that, God begins to look for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? In all of that, God begins to look for you. God begins to look for you, not because you're wandering away, but because there is a synchronity between everything you go through and what God has been working out for your good. Come on, do you understand what I'm saying? God needed David to go through certain things so that he can have the heart that God was looking for. God needed David to go through certain things so that he can have the heart that God was looking for. I don't know what you're going through this week. I don't know what your week has been like. But I've got news for you. You are not out of God's hands. You are more in God's hands this week than you were last week. Somebody get that? Here is what I want to share with you. If you know that he's looking for you, do him a favor. Don't hide. Don't hide. Out in the field, he will take his harp and begin to sing. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. God found David in the wilderness before God started looking for him in the sanctuary. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? Yeah. God found David in the wilderness. Each time God, some of the Psalms David wrote, he wrote them while he was tending the flock in the wilderness. He wrote them while he was all alone searching. And then by the time he spent all of that time finding God, the Bible says, God said, I found the man I'm going to anoint. And then one day, so here comes Samuel looking for him. Listen, this is a very important principle. If you get it, something would happen in your life. Most of us, you'll get it. Most of us come looking for God in the sanctuary. That's how all the other brothers of David were looking for God. They showed up in church when the pastor showed up in church. Does that make sense to anybody? They showed up when the pastor showed up. Everyone. And sometimes the pastor can make the mistake, listen carefully, make the mistake of saying, yes, actually, when they looked at some of the brothers of David, some of them, their name was Shammah, he's tall and big enough and present. Some of them, they were strong warriors, well dressed. If God hasn't found you where he is looking for you, he can't find you. No, listen, sorry, let me say that differently. If God hasn't found you where you are looking for him, you can't find him where he is looking for you.